When the male lead Ito Cheng first appeared, Liu Ruyan was actually already pregnant with our guy's baby. Honestly, even a whole baby couldn't stop the absolute train wreck of this forced plot armor. She used to be so obsessed with our main character that she literally cut ties with her own family. But then she falls for the male lead, starts hating our guy, and can't even stand looking at him. And just like that, he lost everything. A total heartbreaking defeat. He lost the love of his life, and they even took his kid away. Fast forward 5 years, and this adorable little kid suddenly knocks on his door out of nowhere. The kid stands there with a super serious face, saying his mom doesn't want him anymore. He asks if he can stay, and our guy just freezes up, completely speechless. Little Xiao Chen frowns, tilting up his cute little face with a pretty annoyed look. He literally lectures him, saying his teacher taught him that parents have a legal duty to raise their kids. The open door cuts off the kid's lecture as our guy calmly steps aside to let him in. As the warm hallway light hits the kid, his eyes widen just a tiny bit. His eyes sparkle, and he lets out this cute little huff before stepping inside like a good boy. Once the door closes, the kid starts looking around the whole place with pure curiosity. But the second he notices our guy watching, he quickly looks away. Nervously clutching his backpack strap, he tenses up and says his name is Xiao Chen. Honestly, it feels less like an introduction and more like a little reminder. Because this is actually his and Liu Ruyan's child. He knew it the second he saw him. Those eyes are a total copy of his mother's. There is absolutely no denying the resemblance. The kid seems pretty disappointed by that calm reaction, pouting and turning his head away. Our guy gently takes his tiny yellow backpack, setting it down before guiding him to wash his hands. He tells the kid to eat first, and Xiao Chen just gives a cute, obedient little nod. By the time the food is ready, the little guy has already climbed up onto a chair himself. When asked why he suddenly showed up, Xiao Chen just pokes at his green vegetables, looking down. His round little head is buried, mumbling that he had a huge fight with his mom. He says she kicked him out, but honestly, it is probably just a kid running away from home. Either way, Liu Ruyan will probably come pick him up in no time. After all, their custody battle 5 years ago was incredibly messy and ugly. There is no way she would actually abandon him now. Our guy pauses his chopsticks. He feels this strange ache in his chest. He had no idea the kid was coming tonight. So he only cooked 2 simple dishes and a soup. Turns out the kid is super picky. No onions, no carrots, basically leaving him with almost nothing left on his plate. Xiao Chen glares at the mashed-up vegetables, secretly stealing a quick glance at our main character. He guiltily swallows it down. When they first met earlier, the kid acted so smug and spoiled, but now he is just struggling with his vegetables. He must be totally pampered and spoiled at the Liu household, so he is definitely doing fine. Our guy relaxes a bit, washing the dishes while waiting for his ex's family to show up. But they wait all the way until 9:30 p.m. A 6-year-old kid gets tired pretty fast. The little guy pulls his pajamas out of his bag, looking around the small apartment. He pouts, asking if there is really only one room and if they have to share. Our guy glances at the clock on the wall, completely unsure of what is happening. Why the Liu family still hasn't sent anyone. He has no choice but to give in. He sighs and tells him, "Yeah, you are sleeping with me tonight." Honestly, he expected the kid to throw a massive tantrum over this tiny, cramped apartment. It obviously wasn't as comfy as his old life at the Liu family mansion, but little Chen didn't complain. His eyes flickered as he wiped his face, grunting softly. After changing into pajamas, he kicked his legs and climbed into bed, just like how he looked so picky during dinner. Yet he still ate every single piece of green veggies the dad gave him without a single word. Wriggling around under the blanket, he ended up shaping it into a tiny little hill. Digging out a fairy tale book from somewhere, he peeked out with just his eyes showing. He couldn't help but ask, "Papa, aren't you going to read me to sleep?" The dad let out a helpless chuckle, but seeing the kid so happy made it worth it. Once little Chen finally drifted off, the dad pulled up Liu Ruyan's contact info. He stared at the screen for a long time, but didn't call. It's already been 5 years since they split. They actually thought they could beat destiny, even after going broke. The Liu family immediately called off the wedding, secretly planning to marry Liu Ruyan off to someone else. They set her up with Ito Cheng, but she was determined to stay with our main guy.
She risked everything to break off that engagement, even threatening to cut ties with her own family.
Her father locked her up in her room for half a month, totally grounding her. Going on a hunger strike, she forced our MC to kneel outside her family gates all night.
When morning came, she threw herself into his arms, crying, and he truly believed they had made it. The bankruptcy would pass, Liu Ruyan would be happy, and they'd get through this. Their future would be bright. But man, this is low-key heartbreaking.
Nobody supported them.
But because Liu Ruyan was so incredibly loyal to him, even when they were totally broke during her pregnancy, she never once thought about giving up on their baby, so he swore to grind through any hardship. He had to hold down the fort. Soon, their healthy baby was born. Our guy worked twice as hard, and slowly their lives finally started getting back on track. Until a terrible accident happened. A massive load of lumber slipped right off a construction crane. The heavy wood slammed right onto his head, knocking him out instantly. His co-workers frantically called Liu Ruyan over and over, but she never picked up. Rushed to the hospital, he finally woke up. All he saw was a cold, distant look in Liu Ruyan's eyes. He had absolutely no idea why. How could someone change overnight? Her stare was suddenly filled with pure disgust and a stranger's coldness. She just vanished. Then Ito Cheng tracked our MC down, and from him, the truth came out. This changes everything. Turns out their whole world is run by a system that glitched the timeline. The actual male lead arrived too late, after the female lead had already fallen for our guy. The system literally reversed her feelings. However much she used to love him, she now hated him with that same intensity. Ito Cheng looked at him with nothing but pity. Before leaving, he glanced at little Chen. He quietly asked, "Have you ever thought about what will happen to your kid?" Our guy froze. He felt lost. Who was he even supposed to hate? Should he hate Liu Ruyan for leaving? But she didn't even own her own feelings anymore. Was he supposed to hate fate? But what would that even change? Was he supposed to hate fate? But what would that even change? His parents were involved in a horrific car crash while rushing to the hospital to see him. Now they're in a coma, likely to remain in a vegetative state forever. He is on the verge of a total breakdown, mind spinning endlessly. Every single word from Ito Cheng loops in his head, making him hate this garbage world. As he pushes the window open to look down, little Xiao Chen suddenly bursts out crying. In his dazed state, he wonders what would happen to his son if he dies. Will this cruel world even let the boy exist? Can he survive under Ito Cheng? Or will Liu Ruyan despise him like she did his father, abandoning him once more? Until he quietly fades away, dying exactly how everyone wanted. Low-key heartbreaking. In that dark moment, a sinister voice whispers to just take the kid with him. Stumbling, he slowly walks over to the bedside. Shaking, he picks the boy up, but the baby suddenly stops crying. Red, teary eyes stare right back at him, as if ready to go anywhere together. He is determined to stay, and that instantly snaps him awake. He desperately shakes his head, trying to banish those horrific thoughts. He is a father. If he only tries to run away, he completely fails as a dad. That is when he realizes how badly Ito Cheng manipulated him. Absolutely insane. He almost committed an unspeakable crime. Then, right after Liu Ruyan returns home, Grandfather Liu immediately demands a meeting, wanting to fight for custody of the child. Their message is simple. A baby under 2 almost always goes to the mother. Plus, the massive financial gap between their families makes his case completely hopeless. Back in his wealthy days, he would carelessly throw around millions of dollars. Now he is reduced to absolutely nothing throughout this entire nightmare. Liu Ruyan never even shows up, despising him way too much to look his way. Just like that, he lost everything, completely defeated. He lost his love and his son, until a tiny hand nudges his arm. Snapping back to reality, he sees Xiao Chen whimpering softly and curling up closer. The little guy finally finds a comfortable position and drifts off into deep sleep. Even asleep, he tightly grips his dad's shirt, terrified he might disappear if he lets go. Looking down at that sweet, innocent face, he can only sigh softly in regret. If the boy ever found out his father once almost took his life, would he still love him? No, he would probably hate him forever. Morning comes. Still no sign of his cold-hearted ex.
Honestly, what is her game? The family fought so incredibly dirty for custody back then.
Now they just discard the boy. He wakes Xiao Chen up early to get ready.
He drives him to school, even though the kindergarten is in a different city. Luckily, it is only a 1-hour drive. Before they step out, the little boy begs him to return right after school, clinging tightly to his arm. But the moment his eyes land on a car parked outside, he perks up. He drags his dad forward, only to intentionally slow down as they get close. He casually steps right in front of a chubby kid getting out of the car, clearly showing off. Holding his dad's hand, Xiao Chen proudly parades in front of the bully, shouting loudly. He asks if his dad is definitely picking him up later, making sure everyone hears him. That is actually the first time Xiao Chen has ever called him dad, after 5 long years. Before this, even when knocking on his door, the boy never used that word. The bully stares, refusing to believe it, demanding to know why his dad never showed.
Xiao Chen just scoffs. Built different, clearly.
The little guy proudly boasts that his dad is a super busy man. He specifically emphasizes that his dad took a special day off to drop him off. Ji holds his hand, walking right up to the kindergarten gate in front of everyone. It's like he's showing off to everyone. But before they part, he gets super shy. He asks if Ji will come back to pick him up since his dad is silent. Little Chen glares at him, then whispers in a total panic. He reminds him of the promise in the car, saying grown-ups shouldn't lie. Ji smiles helplessly, squatted down, and gently fixes the kid's messy collar. He pats down the boy's soft, dark hair, feeling how incredibly soft it is. Smiling warmly, Ji promises he will return. Hearing he will be picked up, the boy tries hard to hide his grin. Acting like a tiny boss, he lifts his chin and says he will be waiting. Ji watches until his son completely disappears inside before finally looking away. He then heads over to the teacher to ask how Chen is doing. The teacher hesitates for a second before letting out a heavy sigh. She frowns, admitting that while she knows her words might not change anything,
she has to warn Mr. G that he can't completely neglect his son.
No one has ever shown up for his parent-teacher meetings, and kids are starting rumors. This kind of isolation is seriously going to mess with the kid's mental growth. Wait, nobody showed up? Even if Liu Ruyan hates this poor kid, this is pure villain behavior. She could have easily sent a nanny or housemaid, but she didn't even bother. Frowning deeply, Ji pulls out his phone and finds Liu Ruyan's contact number. He hesitates for a moment, but dials the number, determined to have a talk. If she doesn't want to raise Chen anymore, he will gladly take him back.
Even if he can't give him the insane luxury of the wealthy Liu family,
he can still provide a decent life and the freedom to make choices. But just as the call dials, a ringtone suddenly plays right behind him. Realizing what's happening, his fingers start to tremble as he slowly turns around. Standing right there, stepping out of a luxury car, is Liu Ruyan herself. 5 years have passed. She looks exactly the same, yet completely different. She looks down at her glowing screen, her pale, slender fingers holding the phone. Standing in the shadows, she calmly raises an eyebrow with absolute effortless poise. Suddenly, she lifts her eyes and says it has been a long time.
She asks if he wants to talk, her elegance contrasting with his worn-out state.
Unlike Jiyan, who looks completely exhausted, Liu Ruyan remains flawlessly elegant and composed. Her deep gaze locks onto his, while the sunlight filtering through the trees seems to favor her. Rumor says her new jewelry brand is a global sensation. Word is she took over the Liu Corporation, married early but had no kids. The painful memories he tried so hard to bury suddenly come rushing back like a flood. A sharp pain hits his chest. Seeing her again, the truth finally becomes clear. Jack genuinely believed he had moved on, but he was completely lying to himself. He still remembers how she used to tear up while bandaging his childhood wounds, and how she smiled when he proposed to her with a simple grass ring. No one could have predicted they would ever end up in such an awkward place. The truth is, she hasn't changed at all. She just doesn't love him anymore. All right, so it has been 5 long years since they last saw each other. Liu Ruyan stays completely silent as they head into a nearby cafe. Before the coffee even arrives, our guy tries to hide his shaking nerves. Do you still want him after 5 years of vanishing? He spent years torturing himself, imagining how this reunion would go down.
but now he can fake being totally calm as she looks up. She does not even hesitate. "Of course I do," she whispers. His brow furrows as he stares blankly outside the window. He gives a low hum and tells her to pick the kid up. If she is too busy for school meetings, she can call him. He still cannot bring himself to say her new husband's name. His fist clenches tight, forcing himself to say he won't ruin their lives. He checks his watch and turns to leave, brushing past her. But then she suddenly stops him. Is the kid really all you want to discuss? He stops in his tracks, completely lost. Their past is dead. Everything ended 5 years ago when she married someone else. He walked away in total embarrassment. Simple as that. Besides Xiao Chen, what else is left between them? Liu Ruyan scoffs, her dark eyes locking onto his face. "Fine then," she says. "I do not want the kid anymore." Talk about audacity. She acts like she did not just change her mind. He glares at her, demanding to know what she is playing at. She just tilts her head and points to Messi, telling him to sit. It is literally what she said. "You want to raise the kid?" "Sure, he is all yours," she says with a playful wink. But there is a catch. For the kid's sake, she wants to stay at his place every single weekend. She will co-parent there and only leave on Monday mornings. Listening to this absolutely crazy demand, our boy is just stunned. Completely losing his patience, he reminds her they are already divorced. But she just laughs and shakes her finger. She never signed those papers. No shot! He finally realizes what that means. The divorce was never official. He thought she just hated him too much to see him one last time. That is why she never showed up, but she never signed. But why wait 5 years to tell him? He refuses to believe she cares. Maybe the original papers just got lost somewhere along the way. Or maybe there was a loophole that needs a new signature. Literally anything is possible. So, trying to be cooperative, he speaks up. "Let's just sign a new one." But she does not even look up and says no. He tries to stay calm, asking if it is not better to finally move on. She says no. He is totally speechless. What is her problem? He is willing to walk away with absolutely nothing, yet she still refuses. Those rejections leave him dazed. Maybe she forgot her younger self. She was always like this. He remembers back during his birthday party. Some guys had cornered Liu Ruyan, giving her these dirty, insolent looks. Spewing trash, he was terrified of causing trouble for the Ji family. Liu Ruyan just stood there with her lips pursed, taking all the disrespect. Talk about instant karma. Next second, boom, he kicks the guy straight into the pool. This caused a massive scene, especially with all the high society elites watching. But the family elders looked absolutely furious and demanded to know what was going on. Both sides had completely different stories, so to quiet things down, action was needed. Ji Boda's dad demanded he apologize, but he straight up refused to admit any fault. That got him a brutal beating from his dad, and of course, consequences followed. Ultimately, he ended up locked in confinement, groaning in pain on his bed. That's when Liu Ruyan quietly slipped into the room, carrying a medicine box. With teary eyes, she wanted to apply the ointment, sighing at how reckless he was.
She whispered that he didn't need to kick the guy and should have just let him talk.
The guy wouldn't dare hurt her, she insisted, making Ji Boda softly mutter an apology. Liu Ruyan paused for a brief second, only letting out a soft, "Oh." She called him stubborn, leaving Ji Boda to just smile back helplessly. He reached out to take the medicine bottle, saying he could do it himself. But she slapped his hand away. "No shot," she said, "not with his injured arm." Ji Boda hissed in pain, making her instantly panic and ask if it really hurt that bad. He smiled, calling it a minor scratch, but she warned him not to act tough. Tapping his forehead, she told him he's never allowed to act tough in front of her. Back in the present, Ji Boda snapped out of the memory, hiding his bitter feelings. It felt like he was hearing those sweet words from years ago all over again. Now, Liu Ruyan just sat in the sunlight with a cold, distant smile. Honestly, her face had completely changed over the years, losing that warmth. She looked up, arching an eyebrow. As if responding to his earlier words, she casually said, "Ji Boda." She told him they could never just be even, and honestly, he barely remembered how it ended. No goodbye. He was just too angry. Having left on such bad terms, he doubted if she was just bluffing. or if she would actually do it. But after some hesitation, he decided not to go back. Maybe he just needed a break.
Still, 5 years of being an absent dad finally caught up, and he kept his promise. Until 4:30 p.m. when the kindergarten finally let out. Wealthy kids filled the place with endless luxury cars lining the streets. When he saw a Bentley pull up right in front of Xiao Chen, he stopped in his tracks. He turned around and walked slowly back the way he came, suddenly feeling like his earlier worries. It was absolutely ridiculous. Like, what was he thinking? There was no shot It was impossible anyway. The Bentley sped off. As it kicked up dust passing him, he couldn't stop thinking about that sweet little face.
They'd never meet again. Yet, he looked back.
And oh my God, the plot twist? Xiao Chen was still standing there all alone on the pavement. His big round eyes locked onto Ji Boda, lighting up as he tried to run across. But the teacher grabbed him, making the kid scowl in frustration. He started complaining to his teacher and worried the kid might bolt into traffic. Before he even realized it, he had already taken several steps toward the boy. Seeing a familiar face, the teacher finally let Xiao Chen run over, completely out of breath. Xiao Chen's dark eyes sparkle as he sprints over, only slowing his pace when he finally gets close. He pretends to act completely casual, shyly but happily starting to speak. "You really came to pick me up?" he says, as his soft little hand tentatively grabs our guy's finger. Seeing no rejection, the boy purses his lips, stealing a quick glance up at him. The kid holds on even tighter. Silence. Our guy just gives a quiet, gentle grunt. But feeling a bit unsure, he asks the boy if he isn't going with his mom. The second Liu Ruyan is mentioned, Xiao Chen's face immediately puffs up with anger. Like a ticking time bomb. "I don't want her," he snaps. Besides, she wasn't even there to get him, claiming picking the kid up was too exhausting for him. She told him his daily pestering was just annoying and that he shouldn't disturb his dad's work. Honestly, this kid is incredibly mature, acting all serious and totally done with Liu Ruyan.
He proudly adds that he isn't nearly as dumb as her, having already talked to his teacher about transferring today.
This way, his dad won't have to waste so much time driving him to school anymore.
The boy tilts his little face up, his eyes pleading for a reaction.
Seeing him waiting for approval, our guy can't help but gently pat his little head.
The commute home is a total traffic nightmare, so they stop to buy spinach first. As the sky gradually darkens, he holds Xiao Chen's hand, walking the boy back home. Suddenly, the boy remembers something. Right, he casually mumbles.
Dad, a driver's picking me up tomorrow after school. Mom says I have to go home tomorrow. He has to pack all his dirty clothes, but he insists he's still coming back to sleep here.
Don't forget me. Tomorrow is Friday, the kid pleads. Hearing this, our guy just subconsciously tightens his grip on the plastic bag filled with dinner ingredients. After a brief pause, he softly agrees, knowing kids usually forget things quickly anyway. Maybe a single weekend with his actual family is all it takes to make him forget. Honestly, he treats every single meeting like it's their last, because that's the only way to survive this. Waiting endlessly without feeling totally crushed and disappointed. Fast forward to Friday night at 10:30 p.m. Xiao Chen still hasn't returned. Calmly, our guy begins putting away the kids' things. Folding up the pajamas left by the bedside, he packs the extra dinner plates into the fridge. Lights off. Sitting in the dark, he just stares into nothingness. He closes his eyes, waking up later to the heavy sound of rain outside. Dawn is barely breaking, and his entire night has been plagued by nightmares. He wakes up with a splitting headache, the pain throbbing relentlessly. Checking his phone, he notices several unread messages. Just yesterday, Xiao Chen had clung tightly to his leg, begging and pleading for his phone number, and the earliest voice note arrived right at midnight. Sounding a bit guilty, yet frantically defensive, as if desperate to explain his side of things. The text says he didn't mean to be late. He actually had his clothes packed by 6 p.m. But his mom got sick again, having no strength to drive him. "I hate her," he added. The second one came 30 minutes later, cautious and sounding on the verge of tears. "Dad," he says. "Are you mad at me, Dad? Are you abandoning me again? I really don't want to stay here either, but there is just nothing I can do." He didn't have the driver's phone number. The final message was sent just 10 minutes ago. It was a photo of the instructions for some fever medicine, asking what it said. Asking if a kid could even take this. Heart in his throat, our guy immediately calls him back.
The call connects instantly. A tiny, sobbing voice whimpers, "Dad?" His phone was on Do Not Disturb all night, and he can't even imagine what the kid went through. That night, little Chen is completely terrified, but our boy Boda takes a deep breath to stay calm. He grips his phone tightly, asking if the kid has a fever. Boda asks what hurts, but the only answer is a tiny sneeze through the speaker.
Ignoring the question, the kid sniffles and timidly asks if his dad can come.
He begs to be picked up. This kid is low-key heartbreaking. Boda cannot say no, tracking the location straight to a massive luxury villa district. It seems someone gave him a heads up because the guards let him right through. Walking in, he stands right outside the front door. Somehow, this huge place looks exactly like the home he used to have. But then, a hand blocks him. Looking at the screen's reflection, Boda spots the absolute worst villain, Cheng. Nerves on high alert. Cheng frowns like he owns the place, casually clapping a hand on Boda's shoulder. He asks Boda what the hell he is even doing there. Boda slaps his hand away. He flatly says he is here for Chen, which makes Cheng smirk with amusement. Cheng mockingly says he shouldn't have even fought him for custody back then. Adjusting his glasses, he just sighs. He complains that Ruyan hates the kid because he is too stubborn. Apparently, the child is so difficult, he refuses to call Cheng his dad.
Sound familiar, right?
Opposing the main character never ends well, Cheng says with a smug smirk. Those cheap words instantly drag Boda back to that freezing winter 5 years ago. But this time, he stands his ground. As for that bad ending, Boda takes a slow step forward. He glares right into Cheng's eyes, whispering that if he knows what happened back then he should also know that Boda has absolutely nothing left to lose. Go ahead and try me. If that day ever comes, he will make sure to take Cheng straight to hell with him. Cheng takes a step back, totally shocked by the cold, direct threat. He grits his teeth in silent rage, but Boda completely ignores him. Boda rings the bell. The heavy door swings open to reveal a pale, completely exhausted face. It is Ruyan. She automatically asks what he is doing here, her eyes softening for a second. But then she spots Cheng behind him and instantly snaps at him to get out. History repeating itself? Letting out a bitter, self-mocking laugh, he tells her not to worry.
He is just taking the kid and leaving, but she completely loses her patience.
She grabs his wrist tight and drags him inside without a single word. The door slams shut. While Cheng's smile shatters, our boy just stares at Ruyan in utter shock.
Did she mistake him?
It is definitely real, and Ruyan whispers that she was not telling him to leave. Misunderstood? Bid time. Awkwardly pulling her hand back, she just stares down at her empty palm. Her heart twinges, but she immediately calls security. She coldly demands to know why they let that creep in. The guard on the phone panic apologizes. After a few more words, Liu Ruyan hangs up. Security sends over the footage, and she shoves the phone right to our MC. Our MC is completely lost, so she starts explaining.
She never invited Ito Cheng. He literally snuck in behind him.
Since he is just standing there, she shoves the phone into his hand. Then she carefully wraps his fingers around it, dead serious. But our MC catches a whiff of alcohol. And wait, she is a total lightweight. That is when he finally realizes that she is acting way out of character.
Yeah, she is wasted.
Trust me, nobody knows how clingy a drunk Liu Ruyan gets besides him. Under her intense gaze, he has absolutely no choice but to comply. He reluctantly watches the footage. Once it ends, she glares at him, waiting for his reaction. Laughing nervously, our MC awkwardly tries to change the subject. He points out she might have a fever, so she reaches out to feel his forehead instead.
She seriously ponders it for a second, then deadpans that, yeah, she probably does.
Honestly, she is completely out of it. Just then, little Xiao Chen comes out of the room, huffing and puffing. He is dragging a massive suitcase, but freezes the moment he spots the MC. The kid drops the suitcase, eyes welling up, and lunges forward, crying out for his dad. But she immediately pries him off his leg. She snaps at him, telling the kid to back off because he is her husband. Pushed back, poor Xiao Chen is so frustrated he is literally on the verge of tears. His little face is flushed red from his own fever, and he glares right back. He screams that his dad came for him.
Honestly, their bickering is so loud, it feels like having two sparrows in his ears.
Before the MC can even speak, she drags him straight into the bedroom.
Xiao Chen tries to follow, but she stops him with a finger to his forehead and slams the door shut. Finally, some peace and quiet, but then he notices something pretty weird. The door lock has somehow been upgraded, and he cannot get it open at all. At least the kid is not crying outside, which gives him a little peace of mind.
But she is standing there glaring.
She shoves it into his arms and demands that he take his medicine.
He has no idea what these two did last night to both end up sick.
Accepting his fate, he grabs the pills. She just stares at him, terrified that he will vanish if she blinks.
He places a pill in her hand, reminding her that their kid needs medicine too.
But hearing that, she freezes. Her hand stops midair, and she completely refuses to take her medicine. Her eyes well up.
She whines, complaining that he always does this, only caring about Chen instead of her.
Our guy almost chokes. When did he ever? But then he suddenly remembers their reunion day. Ryan asked him if he only wanted to talk about Chen when they were together. So that is what she meant back then? Trying to reason with a jealous lightweight is totally pointless.
So he quickly changes his tune, saying there is no water. He is just worried.
Worried she will choke, he asks if he can go grab her some water real quick.
Ruyan tilts her head, staring at him doubtfully for a while, as if trying to verify if he is telling the truth.
No door opening. Instead, she just casually walks back to the table.
Lifting her wine glass with her chin slightly raised, she smugly tells him not to leave. Because she already has liquid, and then she literally washes the pills down with red wine. She moves so fast he cannot even stop her. Bro, my jaw literally dropped. His first reaction is pure relief that it is not cephalosporin, so he frantically checks the manual.
He searches online, making absolutely sure there are no lethal warnings about mixing it with alcohol.
Finding no crazy cases of bad reactions, he finally lets out a sigh of relief.
Only then does he realize he is completely drenched in cold sweat. He sighs at Ruyan, telling her to unlock the door because he needs water.
Ruyan raises her half-empty wine glass, handing it over with a totally innocent face.
He ruthlessly points out it is red wine.
Like, since when is water red? Ruyan just lets out a super guilty, oh.
After debating with herself for a while, she slowly drags her feet to the door and finally unlocks it. Our guy stares in shock. She never cared when Chen had a fever. She literally swallowed pills with red wine rather than back down, yet now she yields so incredibly easily? All because he simply said he wanted some water. Ruyan just stands at the doorway. Looking so sleepy she is about to crash, she tells him to promise to come back. He coaxes her to sleep, giving her triple guarantees that he will not sneak away. After a moment of hesitation, he actually decides to head back to Ruyan's bedroom. He tells himself it is only because he does not want to see some crazy morning news about the mayor's daughter dying from mixing wine and pills. Definitely not for any other reason. Pushing the half-closed door open, he finds Ruyan peacefully asleep on the bed. He tries to tug the blanket from under her, but it is stuck, and he avoids touching her. So he just grabs the corners and wraps her up like a cozy little cocoon. After quietly watching her in the dim light, he is ready to slip away, job fully done. But suddenly, the phone on the nightstand starts ringing with a dramatic melody playing. Pear blossoms falling under the cold moonlight, singing about waking up in tears and reciting sad verses over and over again. He freezes, looking at the screen. It is actually her grandfather calling. There is no way he should be answering this phone call, so he turns to leave. But suddenly, a hand grabs his sleeve from behind, the blanket slipping off her shoulder. She grips his sleeve tight, glaring furiously. Terrified that he will leave, she literally drags him straight to the bedroom door. Locking him inside, she grabs the leftover wine. She pours all of it into a glass and literally drops the phone inside. The phone actually keeps ringing underwater for a brief second before the screen finally goes black and dies. After this absolute power move, Ruyan slowly looks up. She blinks, quietly whispering that they should hide. No shot! This girl is built different!
If you didn't know any better, you'd think someone was catching them red-handed, but I bet old Master Liu is coming. So she forces him to hide, desperately trying to cover up her sheer panic and embarrassment. Our boy tries to bail, telling her there is no need for this drama because he is leaving right now. He promises not to make things difficult, but Liu Ruyan just keeps completely quiet.
She refuses to let go of his hand, dragging him straight into the cloakroom first.
She tries so hard to walk straight, but her steps are still completely crooked and unstable. Turns out she is still totally out of it, since this cloakroom is semi-open with nowhere to hide. Looking pretty annoyed, Liu Ruyan drags him right back out of there to find another spot. She searches all over the bedroom before her eyes lock onto the bed in complete silence.
She demands he crawl under the blanket, throwing a straight-up tantrum when he hesitates.
The moment our boy pokes his head out, he hears her muttering to herself that this still is not enough. She insists she has to hide too, leaving him totally speechless, since this is literally her own house. She pulls him completely under the heavy covers with her, wrapping them both in total, suffocating darkness. Safe in the dark, he hears her let out a massive sigh of relief, whispering to herself.
She whispers that nothing bad can happen now, and bro, his heart literally skips a beat.
And out of nowhere, this triggers a sudden memory from 5 long years ago. Back then, Liu Ruyan almost disowned her own family for him, until that fateful day.
She got a call saying her grandfather was dying, but it was all a sick lie to trap her.
Locked away by her family, she never made it back while torrential rain poured over the city.
An illegally operated crane hook collapsed on our boy, sending him straight to the emergency room.
And after that day, the real storm hit. Everything shattered when his parents died in a brutal car crash. Liu Ruyan's deep love turned to twisted hate, and the sheer cruelty of fate completely broke our boy. He had no idea how to survive anymore, because he was just so damn tired. Her trembling fingertips gently reach for his cheek, her breath scorching hot from her burning fever.
She gently wipes his tears away, whispering with absolute seriousness that it is all okay now.
She says they will never be found, and his vision blurs with tears. Realizing he is actually crying, he finds himself completely unable to utter a single word.
He laughs bitterly, whispering that he cannot stand her anymore, especially her barging back into his life.
He hates how she forces herself back in, and hates most that she did nothing wrong back then.
Hearing this, Liu Ruyan goes completely quiet, letting out a soft, heartbreaking sigh. She tilts her head in pure confusion, asking if he really hates her now. She asks if some magic inverted his feelings too, and that absolutely breaks him as his tears stream down. Seeing him stay completely silent, she quickly tries to distract him from his immense pain. She suddenly mutters that the phantom flowers are falling, even though there are no flowers here.
There is no magic here, and she was never trying to hide them from some scandal. She just wanted to hide under that blanket so that fate itself could never find them again.
Later that evening, he ends up taking Little Chen, who absolutely refuses to let go of him. With her phone broken, Liu Ruyan simply passes out from her exhaustion and high fever. He asks the kid if he knows the nanny's number, so Little Chen pulls out his little smartwatch. The kid taps on a contact and immediately yells into the speaker for Auntie Zong.
He tells her his mom has another headache and drank alcohol, asking if she can come over.
The nanny instantly agrees, seeming completely used to dealing with Liu Ruyan in this state. Realizing this is normal for them, our boy asks if his mom gets headaches like this often.
Little Chen acts like it is no big deal, saying his mom always has bad headaches.
Whenever Liu Ruyan is hurting, she drinks. It actually knocks her out faster than sleeping pills. The twist is she gets drunk on just 1 cup, and Ji used to shield her from every drink. Now, she's basically using alcohol as self-medication, but then Zhang Yi finally shows up. Our main character Ji is already packing up, holding his suitcase in one hand and little Xiao Chen in the other. The poor kid keeps looking back, terrified that her mom Ruyan is going to pop out and snatch her again. Honestly, this part is low-key heartbreaking, but right before they walk out the main gate,
Zhang Yi stops him to share some amazing news. Xiao Chen's school transfer is finally fully processed.
No more exhausting, endless trips back and forth between Jing City and Jiang City for the little girl.
Ji is completely stunned because he definitely did not expect things to move this fast.
Zhang Yi hesitates for a second, looking at him with this complicated expression. She points out that Ruyan is never normally like this, clearly having noticed the absolute disaster left in the bedroom. She tries to explain it away, saying whatever happened today must have just been a total accident. Ji just gives a bitter smile and says he knows. Man, how could he not know her? Back when they were 18, Ruyan had her very first sip of alcohol. One sip, and she passed straight out on his shoulder, though she randomly bolted upright when he carried her home. He thought she was sober, but she just stared blankly with zero expression on her face. Then she proceeded to dump a massive pile of fish food into her grandfather's absolute favorite tank. Next, she mixed the sugar into the salt shaker and casually tossed the keys right into the cafeteria. Her eyes were completely glazed over, and her steps were stumbling all over the place. Yet she stubbornly dragged him to sit under a tree, refusing to let him leave while she started weaving something. As flower petals drifted down around them in the wind, Ji looked up. Through the falling petals, his gaze locked right into her incredibly bright, shining eyes.
She just stared at him blankly before holding up a pair of rings she had woven out of grass.
Then she demanded that he propose immediately, saying they cannot let such a romantic vibe go to waste. Once they swapped the grass rings, she whispered that they each get one now. She told him not to dare lose it, and then she immediately passed out completely.
When she woke up the next morning and remembered her wild antics, she was so embarrassed.
She could not even look him in the eye, and she never touched a drop of alcohol again after that. Remembering this makes Ji smile, but he looks up only to realize Ruyan is already awake. She is standing at the top of the stairs staring down at him while little Xiao Chen goes on high alert. The kid grabs his hand, dragging him out the door as fast as possible, begging him to hurry.
They need to leave right now, but Ruyan does not even try to chase after them.
He only hears her whisper a quiet, "See you next time," sounding just like a soft breath from their past.
It brings back the exact feeling of the day he proposed to her with that silly little grass ring. It almost feels like a dream, but he tells himself that they will just have to meet again next time.
If a next time even exists, that is. But fortunately, Xiao Chen's new school is super close to his place.
For the next week, Ruyan is completely out of the picture, giving them some much-needed peace. Ji is finally getting used to this quiet routine when his chief editor suddenly calls him in.
The editor is acting super weird, asking Jin in a quiet voice if he secretly comes from a powerful family.
Jim is completely lost, having absolutely no idea what his boss is talking about. But then his boss drops a bomb. The famous Liu family heiress is finally doing her first exclusive interview. And she specifically demanded that Ji be the one to interview her. Talk about a major plot twist. Obviously, the company's not about to pass up on this massive opportunity, so on Friday afternoon, Ruyan arrives in Jiang City for Fashion Week, leaving her with exactly 1 hour of free time before the event. Just like always, Ji stays professional and drafts up his interview outline, looking for the perfect angle. Ji decides to focus the interview entirely on the jewelry brand Liu Ruyan built over the years. And he deliberately avoids the gossip the public actually wants to read, specifically their past relationship. After all, both Ji and Liu Ruyan know exactly what went down between them back then. This unresolved, agonizing tension finally reaches its absolute peak on Friday when the interview day arrives. Ji takes a deep breath and knocks on the door, seeing Liu Ruyan in custom haute couture.
Her long legs are crossed elegantly on the lounge sofa, looking incredibly graceful and poised.
Ji places his recording pen right in the middle of the table, starting with basic icebreaker questions. Once he helps her relax and settle in, he gets straight to the main topic. He points out that the Liu group had absolutely zero experience in the jewelry industry before this. So what exactly inspired Miss Liu to suddenly launch her flagship brand, Flower? She says she always wanted to study jewelry design since middle school, but then things changed. Her brand Flower literally became a global sensation overnight. Normally, when asked about this, most designers would talk about their childhood passion or some deep artistic inspiration. But instead, she just stares at Ji, blinks, and says she did it to find someone. Ji's fingers instinctively curl up in tension as she casually continues with her explanation. She says someone has been hiding from her for a very long time, and she couldn't find him. She was also terrified he wouldn't find his way back, gently tucking a stray hair behind her ear. With complete composure, she explains that having flower stores open all over the world
was never a coincidence. Every massive screen in shopping malls and subways.
And every major brand collaboration campaign was put there with a purpose.
Looking directly at Ji, she smiles softly and says, "This is our little promise."
If he ever sees the brand flower, she wants him to know he doesn't have to struggle alone.
She will always wait for him to come home. Hearing this, Ji's hand visibly trembles. He digs his nails deep into his palm, desperately trying to keep a calm face. Forcing himself to proceed with the next question, he notes that besides the stunning designs, what the public knows best is actually Flower's massive commitment to charity work.
For every single order placed, Miss Liu apparently donates a very generous amount of money.
Liu Ruyan agrees, saying they set aside a huge portion of their revenue every year. They put it all into charity, especially for the flower project he just mentioned. And every single donation is made in her husband's name. Ji finally snaps and cuts the recorder off.
He is completely speechless, telling her to cut it out and take this work seriously.
But Liu Ruyan just blinks, far from backing down.
She retorts that she is being incredibly serious, and this is indeed the sole reason Flower exists.
With a teasing smirk, she asks if he is trying to guide her toward a different answer.
Then she whispers, "Mr. Ji, you never used to be this uptight with me."
Treating her differently like this seems highly unprofessional, doesn't it?
With the table completely turned on him, Jin can only sigh and turn the recorder back on. To continue the interview, she mentions that she has already drafted her official will.
Upon her death, a portion of her vast estate will go to charity, and the rest will be placed in a trust entirely inherited by her husband. She looks at him and says, "Yes, you can understand it exactly like that." As long as she dies, he becomes her sole beneficiary. When Ji asks about their son, she just laughs, saying he'll survive as long as he's breathing. Ji is completely speechless, barely forcing himself to get through the rest of the interview. Before he can even say his polite goodbyes, Liu Ruyan suddenly asks him, "Where is your ring?"
Our guy claims he lost the ring ages ago, but Liu Ruyan just steps closer with this intense look.
He opens his palm and boom, there's the clover ring.
He asks, "If you threw it out, then what is this?" RMC panics and instantly pats his pocket.
Uh-oh.
Yup, totally played. He looks up to see Liu Ruyan staring right at him.
With a smug half smile on his face, our guy's cover is officially blown. Honestly, you love to see it. Feeling completely called out, he snaps and asks what he actually wants. Liu Ruyan just sits back and asks if his intentions aren't obvious enough. With a dead serious look, he says he's rebuilding the future they always deserved. But for our MC, this is a deep trauma he never wants to relive.
He dreads the day Liu Ruyan might look at him with those cold, disgusted eyes again.
It was pure agony.
But then
he remembers Liu Ruyan's random headaches and how a guy who never drank
started drowning his pain in alcohol, not to mention that secret trust well.
All those heavy memories flood back, leading up to this crazy reunion. Turns out, after he ran away, someone spent 5 years searching for him. Reading his mind, Liu Ruyan tells him to leave the door unlocked tonight.
Our MC is totally lost, asking what he means, but Liu Ruyan just flashes a slow smile. He drops a hint that it is Friday, and our guy suddenly remembers their reunion.
Back then, he claimed they needed Friday sleepovers for the kids' sake. Panic starts setting in, so our MC quickly blurts out that the interview is done. He tries to bolt, but then remembers his voice recorder is still running. Meaning all those awkward private confessions got caught on tape. Sheesh, the tension is unreal. In pure panic, he lunges to grab the device off the table. But someone already turned it off. Cue Liu Ruyan's smug little laugh.
He totally reads him, teasing him for being so incredibly stressed out.
"Don't worry," he says, "I shut it off ages ago." Right then, the assistant walks in.
It is time for his next event, so Liu Ruyan waves goodbye and stands up.
As the wind blows, a faint rustling sound fills the quiet room.
Looking up, he watches the breeze sweep past Liu Ruyan's retreating back. It feels like their 18-year-old memories are falling like cherry blossoms.
He declines the assistant's offer to wait and pick up little Chen together. Instead, he heads to the school gate alone, pushing through the crowded parents.
Kids are leaving one by one, but there is still no sign of little Chen. But then, Ito Cheng suddenly appears looking like absolute garbage. Now, he is incredibly haggard as he shoves his way through the crowd.
He sneers. You must be feeling pretty damn good right now, aren't you? Our MC just frowns, having zero clue what this guy is on about. The guy starts muttering that he should have known the kid was sick, and that the father was just as brain damaged, cursing his own stupidity. He thought Liu Ruyan moved on, yet he still dragged little Chen to find him. Wait, plot twist of the century? Ito Cheng was the one who delivered the kid that night? Because of system interference, Liu Ruyan spent 5 agonizing years searching. With 0 results, this dude assumed Liu Ruyan had finally given up. He probably figured that dumping the kid would solve all his problems. Ito Cheng thinks he can still win back Liu Ruyan, even though she used to detest him. But the moment she got out after her family locked her up, she rushed straight to the hospital, collapsing from a migraine just to see our boy. Everyone hid the forced divorce, but she woke up wanting only him. That loyalty is insane. Ito Cheng is furious. 5 years of courting, and he couldn't even warm a rock.
Her kid ignores him, and she would rather die in pain than accept his love.
He curses their stubbornness. Right then, little Xiao Chen walks out of school. The kid runs to our boy, but Ito Cheng goes eerily calm. This is getting dangerous. With a dark look, Ito Cheng whispers that she actually got sterilized. Xiao Chen will be her only child forever. She left our MC everything in her will. For the system, this heroine is completely worthless now. Talk about a failed mission. The system rules that once a host interferes like this, her character arc collapses entirely. Game over. Pure hatred fills Ito Cheng's eyes. Our guy gets a terrible bad feeling. Next second, Ito Cheng lunges at Xiao Chen with a hidden dagger. No shot. Our boy tries to stop him, but the madman flings him off and stabs. No time to dodge. He blocks the kid. In that split second, old memories flash by. The sound of crying years ago, and Ito Cheng cornering him. Grinning, the guy threatened that his misery was only just beginning. He remembers the kid's fever and the crying voice note, begging not to be abandoned again while he fed him medicine. Only for the little boy to whisper, "Daddy, I love you." This is low-key heartbreaking. A sharp pain hits his back. The kid screams in terror. Little hands grip his shirt, crying hysterically. Turning back pale, our MC sees the crowd and guards tackle the laughing lunatic as Liu Ruyan finally arrives. She grabs his hand, crying that she is so sorry she came too late. His vision fades. He shakes his head. Slowly closing his eyes, his voice drops to a whisper, saying, "You finally found me in this fate." Next second, she pinches his lip hard, totally ruining the tragic drama. Telling him to stop playing dead because the knife hit his backpack notebook. Seriously, what is he acting for? Our guy is speechless. But honestly, maybe that was when he got the courage to fight destiny. If love means being brave, then no matter how hard it gets, he would always throw himself in front of her. Sirens echo in the distance as their shadows tangle under the sunset. Suddenly, Liu Ruyan huffs and asks if he really lost the wedding ring. She clearly cares, looking like she has held this in forever. He smirks at her, telling her no.
It's still on him, and she can search for it herself tonight. Spicy.
She pinches him, demanding they meet daily. Now for the extra chapter, the first year after he left. She raised their child alone, still unable to understand his choices. How is raising a kid more exhausting than actually giving birth? This tiny little thing. When he starts crying, it literally pierces through 3 floors, and he won't stop even when hoarse. But sometimes, waking up in the dead of night, she still cannot stop thinking about him. Her emotions and logic are constantly at war. Back then, she actually collapsed and ended up hospitalized. When she woke up, he was already gone. Grandpa Liu said he took 2 million yuan and signed the divorce papers, immediately vanishing from the face of the earth. No word ever since, and she did not even care if it was true. She was lost. Was she really only worth a measly 2 million yuan to him? If he was really going to leave, why did he not at least ask for more money? She had not sorted out her feelings for him, but she knew one thing for sure. Even if they hated each other, they should have stayed locked together. 3 years after he left, finding him was still absolutely impossible. terrible splitting headache started, and even strong painkillers did absolutely nothing to help. Ito Cheng asked if she wanted to die of pain. She snapped, "None of your business." She just knit her brows, too exhausted to answer.
Instead, she called security and told them to never let random trash like him inside again.
But Ito Cheng would not take no for an answer, constantly pestering her.
Asking why they could not just give it a shot, Liu Ruyan coldly replied, "My emotions are messed up."
Not my memory, and even if I had amnesia, I have not lost my mind.
So cold, such an incredibly arrogant person.
Even her hatred felt like some kind of charity. So no matter how inverted her feelings got,
She would never fall for him. 4 years after he vanished, by that time, Ito Cheng was already on the verge of a total breakdown.
Liu Ruyan overheard him furiously arguing with his system more than once.
That was how she finally learned the absolute truth about this world. With the system's help, Ito Cheng, it was a cheat skill that let him invert emotions. Before this, he easily used it to manipulate targets and clear multiple romance missions.
Instead of choosing a rebirth, he just loved the sick high of controlling other people's lives.
Jumping from one world to another, he was now furiously screaming at his system. Why a simple F-rank vacation world had to be this insanely hard to clear?
No idea what the system replied, but he flipped the entire table in a fit of blind rage.
Cursing it out, "You trash system, how dare you just pack up and leave?"
Low energy? What am I supposed to do now? He even cornered her on the street, begging in a low voice, "Just love me. Once I complete this mission and leave, you can finally be reunited with him." What an absolute liar! She did not believe a word. Looking at this pathetic, broken man, she actually felt a rush of satisfaction. It reminded her of Ji Boda back then. When she woke up back then, the only thing waiting for her was that signed divorce paper. She had no idea why it happened, but she knew one thing for sure. Everyone eventually has to pay for their choices, so forget about completing some stupid system mission. Let everything end right here. Honestly, they should all just rot and die.
She was totally done, finding nothing interesting in life anymore. 5 years after he left, their son, Little Chen, ran up and had a huge fight with her for never mentioning parent-teacher meetings. When asked why, the kid yelled, "I want my dad there, not my mom!"
His tiny body was shaking, his voice completely filled with pure anger and raw heartbreak. The kid screams at her, "Bad mom, it has been years." They have been fighting for ages because she still cannot track down his dad. Honestly, Liu Ruyan feels so wronged. She is the one who misses him most.
Her head starts pounding again. Maybe she has stayed in this world too long.
With the system energy fading, she has actually grown used to this agonizing pain. Annoyed, Liu Ruyan shoves him back. "Fine, go look for him yourself."
Fuming, Xiao Chen stomps off and snaps that he will do exactly that.
But those words suddenly spark something in her. She pauses, calling him back. "Do you still remember Uncle Ito?" she asks, as the kid grunts in annoyance. She tells him only Ito knows where Ji Boda is. Others can find him. See, the system was blocking her from getting any trace of his location. But what if she reverses that system block to track his coordinates instead?
Xiao Chen's eyes instantly go wide as he asks her with excitement.
She pretended to stop looking for Ji Boda, giving Ito Cheng a false sense of security. It looked like she completely gave up, but only she knew she never would. No shot! The system actually located his coordinates? This is getting crazy! But then she sends Xiao Chen home for clothes, and he drops his smartwatch into the lake. Now he is crying and throwing a massive fit for it. Seriously, so annoying. She buys him a brand new one, but he refuses. Why is he so stubborn?
Sobbing, he reveals that the old watch has Ji Boda's actual phone number on it.
Ouch! Her heart instantly aches. Even she does not have his number. So she gets in, desperately searching through the freezing, bitter cold lake water.
She searches all night long, while Xiao Chen sulks on the shore holding the flashlight.
The grand villa behind them shines brightly in the dark, and soon it starts pouring. When she finally drags it out, the kid happily swaps the SIM card into his new watch. He drops the umbrella and runs off on his little legs without even a thank you.
She is absolutely fuming. Why are both of them so incredibly ungrateful?
She grabs him and demands he hand over that phone number right now. Another year passes in the blink of an eye. Quiet moonlight floods the cold, empty streets. Haunting music fills her dreams, but she wakes up crying. She repeats his name like a prayer. Drifted between dreams and reality, Liu Ruyan feels like she can actually see him. He is bringing her medicine, telling her with a gentle, helpless smile that he cannot stand her. Did he really get sick of her? Does he actually hate her now? Terrified, Liu Ruyan is lost. She cannot handle being hated. Her mind drifts back to years ago when Ji Boda proposed with a ring made of simple grass. Back then, her heart beat like crazy while delicate flower petals drifted down around them. If she shows him flowers now, will he propose to her all over again? Smiling through the pain, she whispers, "Shh, look, the flowers are falling."